Welcome to the next session. Earlier we have seen a quick introduction about what Angular is, but now we're going to discuss about how to set up your environment to get ready for your Angular. So to set up an environment, it's not tricky, it is in fact quite easy. You need first of all a Node.js as a core, which expected version is 16. Not beyond, because even if you open up this version call Node.js, so if I just see Node.js here and I see this LTS version is 18, but my expectation is to stick to the version 16, which is more compatible. Okay, so you can go here and click on downloads, or else if you want to click on other downloads, here also you can see the previous versions are available here. You see the previous releases, and look forward for Node.js version 16. It is one of the most compatible version we can always look forward for. So here you can pick up any version. Okay, 16.17, 16.8. So this is the version which we needed for our current development. Once this Node.js is downloaded according to which platform, like in macOS or the Windows you're using it, so you need to check which version of Node is installed. So if I just say node space -v, I can see we have got 16.16, which is a stable release, so we can stick to this. Once it is done, you can open one website called angular.io. so this is the official website for Angular. So they say how to basically work and some basic details you can get to know about resources, events, blogs, features, whatever it is. So from here you can get to know whatever I discussed with you about one application for both for desktop as well as for your mobile screen. Now this particular Angular, when I'm saying called angular.io, to download this you will be having an option name called cli.angular.io. So this is the way from where you can start downloading it. This is a step from where you can download Angular in your environment. So remember, this is the first command you need to download this. npm space I space -g space @angular/cli. Okay, so once this download finished, then you can go ahead and install something different. So this command you have to copy, paste it into your node environment and hit enter. It will take a few seconds. Your node installation will through. Nothing else you need to do. It is a very simple. After this command, it is already there in my machine, so that's what I'm not installing, but you have to do this. Next thing is you have to create a new project. Remember, this is a command for creating a new project. So what do we need to do now? I'm under my Angular folder. Okay, so here in my Angular, okay, so I'm inside this folder. So I would like to create a new project from, so I can say ng space new space my-pro. So this is your project name. Ng is a command. New means that I want to create a new project. My-pro means is my project name. So hit enter. Now you see it is asking the first question, would you like to add Angular routing? If you want, you can say yes, otherwise you can say no. I'm saying no. N is by default selected, so even if you press enter without selecting anything, it will be by default saying no. Next thing is, do you want any by default style? So there are so many options are given. So once again, I would love to stick to the basic CSS based style, so I'm just selecting it and hit enter. And now you can see the setup is continuing. Okay, it will take a few minutes, like 2 to 3 minutes, to get your setup done, and from here onwards you can start. Meanwhile, I want to tell you, here I am using this VS Code editor. This VS Code editor is the one which will be holding my current project, where we are holding it my-pro. So this is where exactly my projects will be continuing. So from here onwards the setup is getting ready. This folder structure will take few more seconds to get installed. Now you can see my project is ready. Okay, so from this point onwards your project will start moving on. So my project is now ready, and here I can see this is my folder structure. Now I would like to quickly walk you through about this folder structure so that you can understand what exactly that is. Remember, this is your package.json which is there in a root location. Here you can see the version 14 is installed about your current Angular. This is a package.json which contains all the necessary dependencies and the instructions from where you can start your Angular application. Now, next thing is, after this, there is one important file which is available here that is known as called src folder, which is a source under which you will be getting one index.html file. This is the main file which will be loaded when your application starts. This is your app folder where your first component is by default written. I'm showing you the index.html file, but to show this I just want to make my application run. So now I have to use ng space sir, but if you have to go inside this project first, cd space what is the name, mypro. Okay, I'm inside my cd mypro and I need to say ng space sir. This is a command which will launch your Angular application. Now it is bundling up the necessary setup for you. Okay, so you can see it is saying the application is compiled and your server is running under which port number, 4200. So let me open up by saying localhost 4200, and you can see this is the first page which appears in front of you. Remember friends, this is the page which you will be using it, okay, while accessing your port number, and this page will show everything whatever is there in your application. And from where this page comes from? This page comes from this index.html file. So when the moment you say 4200, this is the page which brings you the complete application for the end user. But I'm quite surprised to see this page contains so many links, okay, but ideally index.html file seems to be blank. Nothing is there inside this. So then from where this different type of icons and the stuffs are coming up? So remember one thing, here it is coming up because Angular offers you the component centric architecture which I've already told you. Now in this component centric architecture, first thing you need to know is which component will be loaded first when your application picks up. So from my application point of view, it is the app component which loads first. So if I show you about the design hierarchy, you will get to know. Here if you check according to the design, see what happens normally. This is my index page. Okay, and this is my component. This is my component. So, and this is my client. So when my client asks for localhost 4200, so what happens? This is the client says localhost colon. So what happens? This index.html page is sent it back to the client. But what goes into this index.html file is nothing but a called component. So this component is the one which render back to the client when the client is trying to get this index.html page. So this is what you are seeing in your browser, the content of the component, not the content of index.html. So that's why you see there's a one tag name called app-root is written here, and this app-root is the tag, okay, which is the name of one of my component selector. You see this here, app component.ts. This is a selector name. So when your application starts, this is the component which loads very first and make your component available to the client, because this selector name must match with what? With your app component, or index.component or index.html. So what you see in your browser is a part of this component HTML file. You see this now. This is how it contains too much of UI which you're able to see in your browser. I can select it everything and remove it and write a very simple message under the paragraph saying welcome to Angular. And this file, the moment I save it, instantly you can see the browser is now rendering you a very simple message called welcome to Angular. So this gives me the clarity, okay, this is a component which I have made it available to my client, okay, and this HTML page is what it is rendered when people or end user access this index.html page. So this name and this name must be same. That's the concept. Hope you're all understood and clear what this component-centric architecture really does. Importantly is here, because the components are divided into the small portions. Now you can see this is a TS file. Okay, and this contains many things about this architecture and everything. I will discuss a lot in a while, but that's something which is very basic structure which I wanted to introduce so that you can get to know when you open your browser what happens. So this is a basic setup for you in which you can start developing your application with some limited number of components. Okay, this language is written into the TypeScript, and furthermore we'll discuss more about our application ahead.